everybody. Welcome to InPsightRadio. I am your host, Danielle Egnew, and you are a fly on the wall to everywhere, especially to 2022. Because welcome to part 2 of the 2022 Year of Expansion podcast. And our part 1 was all about consciousness and politics and why it's so important that we are able to get our head on straight and our hearts together to be able to go into 2022. Because as the Year of Expansion moves outward, whatever we've planted in our gardens, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically, whatever we've planted in our gardens up to that point, are literally going to grow and expand with a huge velocity. So if 2021 has been slow, 2022 is going to be out the gate. It's going to be off the blocks, which I think for most of us who are kind of hoping for maybe a little more action after 2020, 2021 was so odd, right? It was the year nothing really happened. That was 2021. Except for, of course, we had a lot of illness and people continued dying from COVID and there was news headlines. Yet in a lot of personal life paths, there was just a lot that was kind of still hung up in lots of ways. So, part 2 today, we are going to talk all about a few less conceptual ideas and a few more predictive, hard copy items. And we're going to start out with what's going to be going on from 2022 to 2025. Our money system is shifting. And I didn't want to get involved in the last podcast on this because there's so much to this. So a lot of you may have noticed, of course, all of you have noticed, if you're part of our $5 or above a month tiers here on Patreon, that I have a new tier for $1. And it's all about prosperity consciousness. And you might be wondering, like, why? Why would I have included this? And obviously anybody above the $1 tier receives this information. Well, I put it out there because it's really a prosperity consciousness issue. Because next year in 2022, and we're right at the top of December of 2021, so we're coming into 2022, there's going to be a lot that happens there, and a lot of it is around finances. So one of the biggest things, as I've got the angel who walks with the world here, I'm looking into 2022, and psychically as I look forward, one of the things we're going to see in 2022 is a lot of movement in the crypto world. Now, you're probably tired of hearing the word crypto. And this isn't going to be some weird crypto breakdown podcast, so don't worry about that. Yet what I would tell you is if you are somebody who has zero idea of even what it is, it's a really good time, the end of December and into the first part of January, to just start reading about the basics of crypto. And what it is, if you really don't know what it is, it's basically a currency that everybody agrees has value. Now, as I've stated on several podcasts over the years, at first when I was dealing with crypto, I thought it was really weird and kind of stupid. I'm not going to lie. I thought, what a scam. This is ridiculous. I'm taking real money and I'm giving it to these people that are saying that this other money has value. Well, the fact of the matter is our money right now only has value in America. The paper dollar in your pocket, if you have one, that only has value right now because we've decided it does. If we ever decide the paper money doesn't have as much value as the crypto money, then we're going to have a tip in the scales of finances, which actually is coming. Probably not in 2022, but that's coming. So one of the things that I really want to communicate here, especially as we go into 22, is that in 2022, the number 2 is an exceptionally feminine number, okay? The number 1 is a masculine number. I mean, look how it's shaped. I don't think you need a lot of description there. 1 is a masculine number. And it's about, the sword going forward. Look at me. There can be only one. I'm the king of the hill. I'm the top of the heap. And now I am a Vegas singer. So if we look at the number 2, it looks like someone who is bowing in humility. Okay, look at the number 2. Draw a 2 right in front of you, or open up and look at a number 2 on your phone. The top is curved like a question mark, but it intersects with this bottom that's flat. So if you look at that, it literally looks like somebody on their knees kind of bending over in humility. Now, when I say that 2 is a feminine number, I don't mean that the feminine is bowing in humility. Feminine chi, or feminine power, comes from the nurturing and giving to the many and being the steward. Masculine power comes from being the trailblazer and being the forward bringer of things and being the person way out on point, getting spiders in your hair in the jungle out there. And so when we balance ourselves, because each living thing, every living thing on this planet, rocks, trees, plants, water, people, giraffes, have masculine and feminine chi. And when we balance this masculine and feminine chi, then we have this opportunity to not only be incredible stewards and to bow in humility to the cause while being an absolute ass kicker that is an impervious firewall for love, the feminine. And we balance that with the trailblazer. Nope, I'm out in front. There can be only one here. I'm blazing a trail. Now let's go, everybody. I'm blazing a trail. Now let's go, everybody. When we balance the masculine and feminine in all of us, that's where human beings are the most well aspected, right? So if we look at the number 2, the number 2 is there to serve. It is there to be in humility of something greater than itself. Also, something that's straight up and down like the number 1, man, you apply pressure in the wrong space and that thing will crack in half like a twig. It'll just snap if you put something heavy on top of it. The number 2, again, if you look at it, the top of the numeral is curved. And if you look at a prosthetic limb on athletes who've lost a limb and they get these incredible prosthetic limbs, when you look at those limbs, a lot of times they have a bend or a curve in them. And that curve gives a natural spring back. And the curve, like it'll be a piece of metal that's curved down, can hold a tremendous amount of torque. So a number 2, if you look at the way that it's built, it's a completely strong number that can bear a lot of weight. Okay? So look at 2022, 3 2s in this year, 3 feminine energy numerals that are here to bear enormous amounts of weight. Are you getting what I'm laying down here? So yes, we're being asked to look at our consciousness. We're being asked to look at how we handle our politics. We're being asked to not polarize. Why? Look at all the 2s. 2022. How may I be of service to you? How may I learn from you? What may I give to you? What may I receive from you that I could dearly and deeply use? Those are the 2s, okay? 222. So when we're talking about money systems, okay, I needed to lay down the feminine aspects of the number 2 before I got into talking about money systems, all right? Because our money systems are currently, like with our treasury, and thank you, Alexander Hamilton, with our treasury and the system that we have. The money system, I call it the old world money system, the cash system. That's old, man. I mean, we're talking, it's Istanbul and Constantinople. It's Istanbul and Constantinople. We're talking old. That's money. And our old money systems were laid down in a more masculine world format. I have conquered you. My face is on this coin that I've just shoved in your hand that you're going to use. So in using this coin, you are reminded that I'm the reason you have a roof over your head. That's the reason they put rulers' faces on coins back in the day, gang. So that's what it was all about, is I am your ruler. I am the reason. I am the giver of prosperity. I'm the reason you have a place to sleep at night. So if we look at the feminine time frame, which we are in, and I say this all the time, we went into 2012, and we're in it for the next 100,000 years. We've now gone through the shadow period. We are squarely in the feminine time frame. if we look at money, look how funny actual cash money or old world systems of money actually are. The old masculine, and I'm talking out of balance masculine. The divine masculine is amazing. And nobody on this planet at this point in time was alive during the portion of the masculine time frame that was the golden era, that was the divine masculine. I mean, that was when the divine masculine was bowing in humility and conquering and still bowing in humility and still being a steward. It was a wonderful piece of time, probably around 60,000 years ago, and we really don't have a lot of history left from that. So what I would tell you is that here we are in this feminine time frame, and our money systems were built in the old world masculine. And guys will relate with this more. When I've given this talk before, these dudes are in the audience and they're like, oh my God, I totally know. Let's just make this really simple for the sake of time, because this is really an important part. Masculine and feminine types of money. This is a big deal. This is huge. This is what 2020 is going to be predicated upon. 2020 is going to be known as the year of crypto. It's going to be known as the year that changed the stock market. It's going to be known as the year that changed the real estate market, because crypto becomes so incredibly important to our regular commerce system. And it's important to know why it becomes that important. So that's why I'm prattling on about it over here. So we're going to look at the old world system of the old world patriarchal masculine system of money. And remember, number one, there can be only one, right? There can be only one rich guy or only one bank that has all the money, and everybody has to put their applications for a home loan in. And what is it about banks, man? I mean, they're a teeny bit better now in our newer world, but they're still pretty rough. You go in to get a home loan, you've had the same job for 20 years, you make a reasonable living, and the bank looks at you like you're this indigent loser. They look at your tax returns and they're like, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. It shows here that you only made $65,000 last year. Yeah. We're going to need $50,000 in a down payment. We're going to need the left lobe of your kidney, a sworn blood print that when you do and if you do have children, we have access to all their internal organs for transplants. And yeah, you're going to really need to do something here with your finance. Actually, no. We're just not going to loan to you. I'm sorry you've already gotten your kidney taken out. I'm sorry you've already given this piece of the kidney, but no, we're not going to do it. There's something about banks. God. And granted, gang, I understand. I have friends who are bankers, and I understand that we need to keep a tight ship on our money. Otherwise, things get inflated. I get why we have our rules and regulations. I get the, the Fannie something, the Dodd-Frank things, the Fannie Mae, whatever, for housing because of the crash of 2008. We have these rules for a reason. However, the energy of our old world money system is exclusive. There is only one. And they kind of just decide if they want to give money to you or not. Don't try to get a loan if you own your own business. That's like a hellish experience. My God. So it's like you're dealing with the worst masculine version of the 1950s dad with old world money. They don't want to give it to you. And if they do loan it to you, there's a million penalties if you pay it off quickly. I mean, it gets absurd. And you'll notice that we have a deep economic divide in the United States of America. I mean, it's bad. It's bad here. Yeah, you're just going to need to move to another country if you need to retire. Yeah, okay. It's bad. It's bad. So this is because we forged our money system in the old world, which was the haves and the have-nots. And to be a have, there were some pretty stringent rules, and really one of the big ones is if you're going to get a loan from the bank, it helps, especially up until maybe 5 years ago, it helps if you were male. It helps if you're white. There's all kinds of things here. So, and again, my sweet white male friends, I'm not ragging on you. It's just the way that it's not your guys' fault per se that you were born into this system. Come on, man. It just is what it is, but it is what it is. So when we're looking at this, and we're looking at crypto coming in and disrupting, and it's going to be a major disruptor in 2022, gang. I cannot stress this enough. When we're looking at crypto being the disruptor that it is in 2022, it's going to be a huge disruptor. And that disruptor is going to cause some problems with the major institutions that keep the tight grip on everything so they can keep all the money so there can be only one. Yeah. So what I would tell you here is that the crypto system, it's not exclusive. Anybody can buy into it. It's very easy to use once you figure it out. Don't lose your 12-word passphrase in your wallet or you will never get your money back because there's no banker to call to say, oh, I lost my password. Well, that's okay. Why don't you tell me when your birthday is and what kind of cake is your favorite and I'll get that right back to you. I mean, no, we don't have that in the crypto world. In the crypto world, you actually have to be a grown-up and not lose your 12-word passphrase. Yeah. I mean, you got to write it on a piece of paper and lock it in crazy places in your safe deposit box and send it to the moon and don't lose it because literally if you lose it, that's it. That is it. There's nobody to call. You can't call your wallet. You can't call it. You're just done. Okay. So crypto, unlike the masculine old world money system that came from the authoritarian that smacked their face on the coin and said, this is you're responsible, bow down to the Caesar is why you have food. Crypto doesn't have anybody's face on it. Okay? Some of them aren't even coins, they're tokens. And the difference is a coin is minted differently mathematically with a blockchain. A token uses a pre-existing blockchain that's already minted and kind of surfs the top of it and uses the system there, and it's called a token as opposed to a coin, but you buy them anyway. So why am I going into all this? It's because I don't want you guys to be freaked out by the crypto thing. I was really wigged out by it for a long time because it was new, it was different, I didn't get it, it was strange. There were pictures of anime characters and pink bunnies flying through space and I'm supposed to invest in it. Raise your hand if you're Gen X and every once in a while really catch your kind of snarky, cynical self saying snarky, cynical things. And it's like, oh, who is that snarky, terrible person? Oh, I sound like my old parents. And then I think, well, wait a minute. When I was younger, I just sounded edgy and interesting. But now I just sound grumpy. God. So Gen X, roll with me here. My millennials and my Gen Zs, I don't mean to sound crispy. I'm just saying. You're putting in $50 and you're looking at a flying pink rabbit, right? That's the picture. And it's called something like Fluffy Coin or something like that. The reason I'm bringing this up, gang, is, again, this is not a like describe crypto to a T episode. It's just to tell you that in 2022, the feminine style of everybody gets a shot, not just the one who controls it all, bow down to me, I control it all. That's the old world money system. Go give your kidney at the bank. After you get the kidney, they give it back and say, we've decided to change our mind. Sorry about your organ loss. It's different. With the feminine system of crypto, you can take $5 and throw it in there. You can take $3 and throw it in there. And everybody has access to it. So it's a different type of money system where not one big emperor, ruler, government, authoritarian figure is ruling the money. And it's sort of a collective environment. So the more people who use the crypto, the more valuable the crypto becomes. That's the way this rolls. Just like anything else. And I'm sure you've heard of Shiba Inu. And when I first shouted out about Shiba Inu for people to go buy, it was like I don't remember, a whole bunch of zeros, like 6 or 7 zeros, 8 something cents. Now I think it's down to 4 zeros. It's lost a bunch of zeros. But had a person bought even $20 worth of that now, it would be like $20,000 for $20. You know, I mean, the math on it gets stupid. So, and again, we don't have to talk all about the crypto dynamics, but it's to tell you not to be afraid of it because it's the next phase of money that we have. And in 2022, it's going to change our investment portfolios. We're going to start seeing in the United States people selling homes and taking major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon is going to be one that's in the running. This is going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal. So if you're able to get a hold of a little bit of crypto and, maybe like Coinbase or something that's easy, or crypto.com or any of the exchanges that's a little easier than holding a wallet and all these other things, just be aware that it's not the devil, okay? People look at crypto like it's this evil thing or something that, I don't know, methed out 14-year-olds do, but it's really going to change your money system. The thing about it that's so great is people tend to donate crypto way more readily than they donate cash. They'll donate a bunch of crypto. They'll donate a bunch of Bitcoin. They'll donate a bunch of Ethereum to people in need, to homeless shelters. It's easier for people to just transfer that crypto over than it is to go through the money. So the crypto is a feminine form of commerce. And again, it might have a fluffy pink bunny on the token or the coin. It may have a dog like Shiba Inu. It's a form of currency that we give relevance. Yet the collective makes it valuable. And obviously our old world money, the US dollar, is going to hang in there. It's still, even though the US dollar is not the highest dollar value on the planet Earth, and we're talking real money here, it still is a standard. It's kind of the gold standard for money is the US dollar. Even though I think we're behind the British pound right now. I mean, we're behind other dollars, but the US dollar is still the coveted form of currency throughout the world. We are like the commerce hose over here. So the reason I'm going on and on and on and on and on and on about the crypto stuff is because it's important to note that it's going to change the power dynamic starting in 2022. So I mean like corporate power dynamic, political power dynamic. We're going to be having billionaires and millionaires coming up that are not the usual set. They aren't the people who came up through the business sect. They're people who invested well and knew what to look for. And maybe they're, 15, maybe they're 18, maybe they're 22, yet they invested well and they're coming out with all this money. And they're not cashing it all out. They're hanging on to it. So as long as your crypto stays crypto, you don't pay any taxes on it. The minute you cash it into American dollars, well, welcome to America. You pay to play. So there you go. So what I think is interesting here is that our money system, when I look ahead into 2022, I look at, there's already places around the world that will take crypto for property. Brazil, big shock. Ecuador. There are places that you can buy a whole plot of land with Bitcoin. You can buy the whole thing. And what I think is so interesting here is that we're going to get there in our real estate very quickly in the United States. And like I said, we're also going to be seeing really major investment houses. Like the old guards, that the ones at Morgan Stanley and all the ones that you see that come up with their storied logos of the old world money system. And they're going to pop up in the middle of some, commercial. And then you're going to see the Bitcoin logo, the Ethereum logo. They're going to start to incorporate purchasing crypto in people's investment packages. Because by the time we hit 2023, we're going to be able to pay with crypto in grocery stores. People are going to catch on really fast that the crypto system, it's a lot easier than cash. We've already gone there with kind of our digital systems with PayPal and Venmo. Go to Venmo. You can get paid I could pay you, if I needed to send you some money, I could send you Bitcoin if I had any, and Ethereum to your Venmo account. So the reason that I went into such detail and spent pretty much almost a half a podcast on explaining the crypto is that 2022, the year of the number that bows in humility and gives back, the year of the everybody can be included, what can I do for you year, Crypto and money. Crypto changes everything. Now, I've been talking about our money system shifting since really 2018, hardcore, talking about it really cementing it in 2020, which it did. It cemented and changed differently because we had COVID. So our money system shifted. People quit jobs. We let go of things we didn't want to do anymore. A lot of businesses received wonderful aid from the government to stay open. People received stimulus checks. A lot of this, was to help people. But it did change our money system and it changed how we do business. So the old world really got a push in biting the dust in 2020 because then you have 2021's Great Resignation, right? Where everybody was quitting and leaving their jobs they hated and all the things. 2022 is the year of expansion. So again, be careful where your brain's been at. Just be mindful, not careful, but mindful of it. Because whatever you put your brain in 2022, your whole life is going to go. So if you're looking at money and you have opportunities for jobs, and some of that job is going to pay you in cash and some of that job is going to pay you in crypto, rock on, get yourself a wallet, get yourself a trust fund wallet or whatever, or have them send it to Venmo so you can then turn it into cash and send it to yourself. I mean, we're going to get really creative in 2022 financially. Now, there might be some of you listening going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. All this is super overwhelming. I hate this crypto thing. I don't want to have to use a system of money with a pink bunny flying through the air on it. That's weird. That's super. I'm not an anime person. I don't get any of this. I want to go to the store and pull out my $5 bill and buy something. Well, you're still going to be able to do that. It's just that the world's valuation of all of this money, everything is going to shift. So this leads me to the next section. We talked about crypto, going into the next section, which is a very feminine form of commerce where everybody can be involved. Everybody gets a shot. It's not just the one. Everybody has a chance. I'd like to expand that over to our old world money that's obviously still going to be in use, obviously, in 2022, 23, 24, and just touch lightly on some aspects of that. Our stock market, gang, when I look ahead to 2022, it's not really going to really race ahead. And I talked about this on several podcasts, but it's really not going to be like a crazy race ahead till maybe the very end of the year and maybe into 2023. That may or may not have to do with midterm elections there. Yet, don't be weirded out if you are somebody who holds stocks, even if you hold just a few stocks, even if you have like $10 a stock in something. 2022 for the stock market, it goes up a little and then falls and goes up a little and falls. It's really not going to be the super banner year. It's not going to be a big loss year either. Yet it's going to be the big gainer for crypto when I look ahead into 2020. And for the regular market, it's fine. It's a nice, as we Italians would say. It's a nice. It's not bad, but it's not great. So don't wig out if you have more traditional investments. It's fine. They're not going to tank on you. It's just that we're really not going to be seeing another big market run probably till 23, 24-ish. And keeping in mind that the stock market run that we had while former President Donald Trump was president, a lot of that too, we had a heck of a lot of push in that area, but a lot of those were inflated numbers that at some point they were going to come down. That's called a market correction. Pretty much just imagine the stock market was on a great big Coke party for like 4 years, and then all of a sudden the money ran out, and they're like, oh, we got to clean up and go home. I have a headache. And the whole, suite is trash that you were staying in, and it's just a big mess. That was the end of 2020 in the stock market realm. So I don't want you to be worried if you have IRAs or traditional investments. I just want you to be educated that to go into the feminine time frame, we need to provide for everybody. Now, that's not really possible. Do you know what I mean? There's some folks who have a really hard time understanding how to participate in the provide for everybody team. And there's some folks who don't even know how to provide for themselves very well because they're just not the opportunities to. So the feminine time frame is going to get a little creative. And a lot of these crypto companies that we're looking at, they're going to have opportunities to buy food for people who don't have food or clothes for people who don't have clothes. Now, I have a lot of especially my conservative friends, man, that just chaps their hide. They're like, look, I don't have anything against people having food, and I don't have anything against people having clothes. I think we all need to have food and clothes and go to the doctor and all the things. However, some of my conservative friends have expressed some fear around this. Like, are we just going to create this big nanny country that needs to be on the dole of somebody else because we've forgotten how to operate and how to provide for ourselves? That's a big fear for a lot of my friends on the right of the political aisle. And what I'll tell you is that the crypto and the helping people and all these things, it doesn't really create a society of takers. It more fills in where we have left people behind because our sociopathic consumerist nightmare that we live in here in America really favors, well, especially in the banking system, it favors white people and it favors men. So if you're anybody else who doesn't fit that, you're not getting the same opportunities to build a house, or you're not getting the same opportunities to put yourself forward. That's just the reality of it, So what this is going to do in 2022 and 2023, really, but 2022 is the start of it. As I look into it, we're going to see these amazing pockets, especially of zillennials and millennials, that want to just gift people stuff. They just want to help people. And then I see other people out there just pouring crypto into these big pots and just donating a bunch so that other people who don't have stuff can get stuff. Because these generations, especially Gen Z and the millennials, stuff isn't as important to them. Sustainability is important to them. Thank God, Gen Xers and boomers, the one thing we did do right here is raise a bunch of human beings that actually can see that taking care of one another is the most important thing over commerce, over racking up a ton of wealth, taking care of each other so that we all have enough. That's what 2020 starts. Now, if you consider everything in this podcast and you consider part one of the podcast, which was about politics and about consciousness and about how we're going to have some political dust-ups in 2022. Now, just add the money freak out to that, okay? Which is why I was saying in the first podcast, let us all keep our head, people. Let us all go to a place of kindness as an interpreter rather than a big jackhammer in the face. Let us all decide that we too can be good, loving people and can sit down with someone to explain where we're coming from and to understand where they're coming from. Because if you add money wig out to some political wig out, then, we're going to hear a lot of false narratives. Well, that's a shock in America. We're going to hear a lot of false narratives, and those false narratives are going to include, but aren't limited to in 2022, just get prepared for these headlines, how there's going to be extreme politicians in 2022, that some of them are going to spin crypto as the new way to ditch the government and be your own independent person. And some of them are going to spin crypto to seem like it's the big socialist bailout that is trying to eat your hard-earned money out of your IRA. Watch out for that crypto. It's going to be like a Pac-Man, by God. That crypto is going to get in there and waka, 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 and eat away your retirement. And all you're going to have left is a big old fluffy picture of an anime pink bunny, and they're going to call that eat on that plate. They're going to call that your retirement, that bunny. So we're going to have a little of that narrative, the be afraid, be very afraid, fear, doom, and gloom. Oh, God, which is just, ugh. So I'm telling you all these things. So when you see these things in 2022, which is going to feel like, it's going to feel like you're shot out of a quantum cannon compared to 2020 and 2021. 2022 is going to have so many changes so quickly. Big investment houses coming out saying, yes, we take crypto, we're doing the crypto thing. Big management companies for rental properties saying, we'll take crypto for rent. All of this big movement. Robinhood picks up Shiba Inu, it looks like, in 2022. So, I mean, all of these, and when that happens, boy, that coin flies off the hook. So if it dips again and you have an opportunity and you're somebody who likes to buy Shiba Inu, this is not financial advice. It's for entertainment and educational purposes only. But you might consider, dipping your toe back in that water, because once Robinhood picks it up again, which it's going to do once it starts to get going again, then we're gonna watch that valuation rise. So money equals more freedom. And what 2022 is going to be about, again, a year of expansion. If you have dreams, if you have big ideas for a business, if you have business ideas that may need alternative funding, there will be people who will loan in crypto to you. No kidding. No, it's not going to have like weird Matrix-styled, odd-looking Asian gangs that come after you when you don't pay your crypto bill. However, people are able to loan their crypto because people hold so much of it. It's a privately held commodity. It's not the one leader with the one bank with the, give me your kidney, now you can have $1, It's a different system. So, when we are watching the sociological changes, it's going to inspire a lot of people to go in a different direction, really, money-wise and also job-wise. And we already see the great resignation of 2021. And many of you listening might have left your jobs already. I talked to a lot of clients in 2021 that were done with their jobs. And there were a lot of people there that went to leave and the job was like, no, don't go, and finally paid them what they're worth and all the things. But in 2022, we're going to see at the same time, equally, on one hand, we are going to see a mass decline in people being able to get home loans. I'm looking ahead in 2022 and looking at problems with home loans, okay? And property value, money is gonna, man, if you have property right now and you're able to hang on to your property or you want to hang on to your property, you keep hanging on to that sucker if you can. That'd be my recommendation. Because property values they're not going to skyrocket as much as they did. They're kind of going to level out through 2022. But in 23 and 24, especially in certain parts of the country, they're going to fly up. However, people are going to be having a hard time getting loans in 2022, in part, but not solely because of this inflation issue we have. Now, when I look into 2022, I get a chance to see that our inflation rates are pretty heinous through a lot of the year. I mean, pretty heinous. So this is the year that you want to pack away. Again, even though I've talked so much about crypto, I've talked so much about new world currencies, the feminine time frame, how the crypto market is going to lend to just big trade, feel-good trade pools that can give money to communities in need and all the things. We still are not in an all crypto society. And so it's when we're talking what's going to have value in 2022, green stocks are going to have value. Water reclamation stocks are going to have value. Oil and gas, they're just kind of putting along. That they're not going to be the hot growers. They're just putting along. At the same time, property is going to be worth a whole lot if you can hang on to it a little bit. Yet through all of this, if you can put some cash away in 2022, 23, and 24, all the way to 25, and kind of balance your crypto buying, because it's not that I have a ton of crypto. I don't. However, I don't have a ton of money. So, you take a little money, you save it, you throw some at crypto, whatever. I've noticed that with the crypto, it's going to be important that it's there as it matures into the end part of 2022, 23, and 24. If you can get in on, if you're somebody who likes to buy the crypto stuff, getting in on that now before we hit 2022 is going to be helpful. Man, I'm telling you, I look ahead into January, the third week of January, and man, that crypto market's already starting to run up again. And that's of 2022. So if you can get as much cash forward and stick that good old American cash in the bank, That's also a very smart investment tactic through 2022, because in the next 3 years, it's going to be a lot easier to get cash money, and cash money is still going to stay king in the American market, even though we're going to be moving to crypto, but it's still going to stay king for a long time. So it's going to be harder to find the cash money. Now, what does that mean? Well, we're going to have a lot more people who want to pay in crypto, because if I'm a business owner and I am putting my proceeds in crypto, and then I pay you in crypto, then, oh my goodness, look, I'm not paying all kinds of taxes on that. So the cash money is still going to be what the old world banks want to loan on. And until we're on an all crypto system, when it's going to be a while, but 2022 really, again, it's the year of expansion. We're going to expand in that area. Make sure that you're just putting dollars and coins in your piggy bank. This is going to be important, because we're going to need especially in 2022, we're going to need cash. We're going to need it for just weird things. A lot of you that I'm looking ahead in these timelines, I see a lot of you are going to make big changes in 2022. You may decide to live new places. You may decide that the climate in your larger city is no longer what you're after, and you move somewhere rural. Or you may be living somewhere rural and you may be tired of the culture there and you'd like to go somewhere with folks who might think a little more like you do. And you move to a bigger place. Whatever the case is, 2022 is not only is it the year of expansion, but I also want you to think about it as the year you're setting yourself up for 23, 24 to 25. You're expanding, things are taking on velocity, it's moving along, but you got to set yourself up. Because by the time we get to 2025, the money system has completely shifted over by a large swath. The American dollar is not done away with, but there's a lot of changes to it. In the middle of that, too, we've got a lot of income inequality that's getting addressed in all of these different years. So we're going to have a different way that we deal with restaurants. The days of paying somebody $7.85 an hour or $10 an hour and wanting people to work 4 jobs, people just aren't willing to do it anymore. So we're going to see a shift in our business models in 2022. And we're going to see a shift where, with the exception of the little bitty mom and pops, like the individually owned stores where people are barely making their rent, on the grocery store. Most people don't work at an individual mom and pop. Most people don't. Some do. Yet most people are at a job that's a larger corporate entity and all the things. So income inequality becomes a huge forefront issue in 2022 because money becomes a big forefront issue in 2022. How certain people have a ton of it, how a ton of people have none of it. It becomes this thing. And that's why I'm saying if we're poker players in 2022, you want to hold. 2022 is the hold year. Don't call anything. Just hold. Let the hand pass you. Let it pass you. Let your investments accrue. When I look into this, the velocity and the expansion that we're going to be seeing are opportunity-based. So this angel is showing me many of you are going to be out there taking brand new jobs. Like I said, you're going to be looking at new houses. Don't be afraid in 2022, even though I'm saying, hey, hold, be chill, try not to cash a bunch of stuff out. At the same time, balance that with the same message of if a giant, expansive opportunity presents itself to you, take that opportunity. Take the opportunity. Because the universe in the feminine time frame is trying to set all of us up for 23, 24, and 25. But in 2022, that great year of expansion, it's a velocity year. It's a change year. Even though it's a change with temperance. So make sure you're holding certain things and accruing other things. And it's not out of fear. It's out of preparation. The universe is trying to move you to your highest purpose and design. So there's going to be a lot of emotional awakenings in 2022. 2021 was sort of like the time frame that we woke up and we're like, oh my God, I hate working 9 jobs. I can't stand my boss. I'm not paying gas money to drive 700 miles one way and then 900 miles the other way to get home. That was the year we had brass tacks recognitions because 2020 was the year that we had emotional recognitions, right? So 2022 is going to be the year where the velocity and the expansion of that ties it all together. Maybe you've owned a business forever and you're just kind of over having to be the one that stresses out whether your payroll is made and whether you've got enough money for your beautiful employees and whether or not the state's getting their taxes. I mean, it's a headache to own a business. You love your business, you love the people that work with you or for you. Yet, man, that's rough. And especially the smaller the business, the higher the overhead. So 2022 is about reinvention. This angel is talking about reinventing the way in which you put yourself into the world. And for some of you, even though I'm saying, hey, if you have housing, you might want to, hang on to it. You do what you want. There's going to be a lot of people with cash that are buying houses for a lot of money, especially if you're in areas of the country like Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, I'm seeing. These are areas where people are going to walk right up to you and offer you twice what your house is worth in cash. And so what did we talk about? It's a good time to pick up cash, right? So, and it's also a good time to size your life. Not only is the money going to shift, not only is the mentality going to shift, not only is the velocity of everything picking up and flying off the hook, yet the United States specifically, as other countries in the world as well, but I live here, so I'm talking from this perspective. The United States specifically is going to be going through some serious identity changes through 2022. And this means that we as citizens of this country might be doing the same. Maybe you were somebody who always lived in a big city and you're just sick of it. So all of a sudden you bought some property in the middle of Indiana. You bought 900 acres with this killer house on it, whatever. It's the time to expand and let your mind expand. Let your opportunities expand. There will be many opportunities, this angel said, that come to people and people just won't take them. They won't take them. Because they're fearful, it's something new, it's something different. It's got an anime purple flying bunny on it. I mean, whatever. Remember that 2022 is the year of expansion, and it's going to be exceptionally important that we're not afraid to say yes to the right situations and no thank you to the situations that just don't quite fit us anymore. This set of boundaries and stewardship and provision for the self, this angel says, then makes it much easier for us to be good stewards of one another and the planet. And next podcast, part 3, we're going to get into environment and everything else that's going on and why it's important that we are making smart choices about our living arrangements as well as what we do with our money. We want to have a little crypto. Got a little crypto by my side. I got some bank account and it's not too high. I got a little bit of something else over here and a fuzzy bunny that makes me scared. I mean, we got a little bit of everything. Da-da-da, da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da. We got a little bit of everything. So it's important that we are open and flowy, focused, but not hysterical, kind, and just going with the velocity of being shot out of the cannon. Now, 2022 is also going to be a stewardship year. We're going to have a lot of people asking of us things. We're going to have a lot of people asking if we can help them. And if you have a few spare cents and can help somebody, do it. If you can't, that's completely understandable that you can't. You might have to ask somebody for help. Yet 2022 is the year where we start to see that we are not in this alone. I think the way this angel is representing this, one of the biggest issues that we saw in what are now known as the Trump years is Donald Trump was an excellent example. He was a walking, talking, Academy Award-winning example of the white, masculine, patriarchal person who gets out there and claims all the power. And we really needed to see this in contrast to a deeply connected planet where one person who has all the power, it gets very lopsided, And honestly, I swear to God, Donald J. Trump is going to go to heaven one of these days, whenever that is, and he's going to get up there and he's going to get handed an Oscar because he's an old soul. You don't get to play that role on earth unless you're an old soul. You don't get to play Hannibal Lecter unless you're Sir Anthony Hopkins, okay? You just don't. And, so he's going to get to heaven. He's going to get this Oscar, this Academy Award handed to him for holding the part and not breaking character of old world avarice and excess, because that's what he was raised with. That was what success was to him, from the gold toilet on down. And I have some listeners that are going to probably think I'm making fun of him. I'm not. I'm being dead serious. From the gold toilet on down, that's what he was taught, was avarice, and that avarice was taught as success. We needed to see what that looks like in an interconnected world. We need to see what it looks like to have just a few people have all the money that we're fans of and everybody else living under bridges. We need to see in the United States in our modern times what that feels like. And listen, I have zero negative feelings against people who have done well financially. If you've done well financially, good for you. This is a freaking hard world to exist in. Jeez. You reach around and you pat yourself on your back and you thank the universe. You thank that all, the God. You thank God. You thank your family. You thank your job. You be thankful for that prosperity that's been gifted to you that you've worked really hard for. Be thankful for that. If you can help people, do. If you make $9 an hour, and there's somebody who could use that dime in your pocket, give them the dime. Giving of ourself, giving to the society that we're trying to build. This isn't about, and this is where this gets real muddy for people, especially people stuck in the old world. 2022 and beyond is about building a brand new section, partition. It's a brand new plateau. It's a brand new avenue. It's a brand new subdivision in America's history. And it starts in 2022. It got reset in 2020, but it starts in 2022. So what's so exciting about this is, none of us get everything we want politically in 2022. None of us get everything we want financially in 2022. But the one thing we all do get is an opportunity to change the system in a way that way more people are benefiting from. And this is where this gets exciting, okay? The year of expansion. Again, remember, the name of the game in 2022 is velocity. So it's kind of like if you get on a roller coaster and you kind of get busy talking to your friends, or maybe you had 6 cocktails before you got on the roller coaster because that's what got you brave enough to get on the roller coaster. Or maybe that's just me. But you're sitting there with your purse and you're busy talking and taking selfies and pictures, and all of a sudden, boom, the coaster starts moving forward. And all of a sudden you realize that they've already put that little shoulder thingy over the top of you, and that's sort of a non-adjustable doohickey. And you kind of realize that you were so preoccupied that your whole purse was sitting on your knees. So you're trying to shove your purse underneath of the tines that are holding your body in this coaster. But then for the first time, you're really aware of the fact that there's really no room. You should have had that thing under your armpit, crossed over your body by the time that body cage comes down. But here's your open purse sitting on your knees, and you're looking ahead and seeing 6 and 7 loop-de-loops coming up. Hoping to God the centrifugal force will keep, your lipstick, your wallet, a straight half-wrapped tampon, whatever is in there, in your purse, because you just were not paying attention to the fact that there's a lot of velocity coming up here. And before you know it, you're going loop-de-loop, and you're up and you're down and you're screaming and you're throwing up and all the things, and you didn't even have time to figure out where your wallet fell out. You didn't have time to even see the lipstick that flew past you. You got hit in the forehead with something that could have been a piece of half-chewed gum out of your purse. You don't know. So the velocity is what I'm trying to make the analogy for here. Be prepared for the velocity of 2022. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to get you excited. There's nothing more exciting than a roller coaster. If you're anybody but me, I actually can't stand them. I don't get on them. I don't drink and get on them. I just don't get on them. I can't stand them. However, for other people, I'm told they're super duper exciting. Yay, roller coasters. Yeah, you're going to want to make sure to follow the analogy that you've got your wallet in your back pocket. You're not farting around with it. You got your phone in the inside of your pocket. You got your purse underneath. Your man bag is underneath of your arm. Your person bag is snapped around your waist. Be prepared, because when 2022's coaster takes off, the velocity is such that just like with your purse or your wallet, you're not going to be able to catch all that stuff. It's going way too fast, and you're kind of strapped in anyway. So this is why I'm talking so much about the feminine aspect of currency. Our money changes. Yes, your American dollar and your world dollars, those are going to hold. In 2022, we have lots of Cold War fallouts. We're already seeing this actually, but with China. And it's highly likely that there's going to be a lot of Chinese companies that pull out of the American stock market, not all, but a lot of them. And that's going to cause the market to wiggle a bit. So, if you do hold Chinese stock in anything, like in NIO, the electric car company or whatever it is, and they pull rank, I don't even know what to do in that case. Call your stockbroker or look it up online. I don't know. But I can tell you that China has been feeling this crypto thing coming for a long time. China's communist government does not like it when things are out of their control. So, they've been trying to ban crypto, and certain kinds of crypto are banned there and all the things. Well, China, to stay a financial superpower in 2022 and beyond, especially we're going to be busy, we're sanctioning them. We may not go to the Beijing Olympics. We're not going to go to the Beijing Olympics, all the things. But the deal here is bigger because China is a world financial player. And China is going to have to kind of get with the program or lose out on the rest of the world going crypto heavy. And then China's kind of sucking wind behind that. So, and China gets really crafty. And if China puts their mind behind a crypto, China can do anything China wants. China owns so many of the notes. We are so in debt to China. If China ever wanted to call us up and say, hey, USA, hey, all that money I fronted you over the last 50 years, well, I need it back. Yeah, we would not. We would be Hong Kong East over here if that had to happen. So honestly, 2022 is going to be super exciting. And this may all seem very startling compared to the news we've had and the predictions we've had in other time frames. But like I said, we are here during a very, very insane time. And insane isn't bad. Insane means we get to create this republic going forward as Americans. How do we want to create it? Do we want to create an America where we're all broke and poor and living on the street and, robbing banks because nobody can eat? Or do we want to create an America where, because a dysfunctional system that started out trying to be decent, but then got really crazy and sociopathic in our commerce and it ate all the money, do we want to create an America where that holds everything and everybody has nothing? It's not going to work for a country this big. It's not going to work for as many visionaries as we have. It's not going to work for our collective thinking Gen Zs and millennials and Gen Xers and all the collective thinking baby boomers out there. And any of our greatest generation, if you're listening, I love you and I'm glad you're still on the planet. We love and value you very much. So what I would tell you is look at the financial outlay. Look at the energies of money. The energies of money in 2022, it's going to be unbelievably important. More important probably than any time in your life because we are reestablishing. We're almost resetting the country. We're kind of doing like a reset, a hard reset, because our inflation is going to be so astronomical. The interest rates for homes and cars are going to be way out the window. And here we see these crypto loan companies coming in. So the money system is going to have to change. The collectivity of the way we look at success in the United States is going to have to change. And it's important to remember that if everybody's doing well, everybody's doing well. We have this fear consciousness in the old world that's like, well, if you give those poor people, whoever poor people are, what is that? God, I think those the poor people or the poor people saying poor people, quite frankly. However, there's poor people. Yeah, income challenged people. Can't give them money. They won't know how to work. Let me tell you what human beings crave. Purpose. We all crave purpose. It's in our DNA, gang. Honest to God, you may not know what your purpose is, but I bet if you don't, it drives you crazy, right? Right? Because it's part of our DNA. What humans crave is purpose. So it's a myth that people don't want to work. How about if there was so much to go around that we all had access to clean water and a warm or cool environment in the summer or winter, and a roof over our heads so we're all dry, and we have access to a bathtub to take a shower every once in a while and wash our clothes out and feel like a human being, and we're not working to survive, but we can survive. Guess whose purpose gets to come forward? Everybody's. Because we're not just twiddling our thumbs with we're not being bored doing nothing. People will find a purpose. People want to be part of something bigger than themselves. I mean, everybody does. It's part of our genetic code. We are pack animals. We want to contribute to a tribe. We are tribal beings. So when you hear people say things like, well, it's handouts, they're going to give it, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not the handout that would be the issue, and it wouldn't be a handout. It would be a collective crypto pot. The issue is that we have income inequality. The issue is that people can't make enough money to survive, and they're tired, and they're burnt out, and they're resentful. So the minute you start giving people an opportunity to not have to kill themselves surviving, purpose comes out. When purpose comes out, genius comes out. When genius comes out, we figure out how to stave off the climate issues we're going to have. But that's next podcast. So thank you for joining me for part 2, which is all about money, property, what's going to change in 2022. Do we need to be afraid? Is it going to crash? Is it going to rise? Now you kind of know where everything is at, and you can kind of get yourself a little more prepared going into 2022 for the financial climate. So join me for part 3, which is going to be all about climate, period. And what are we going to be looking at in 2022? Thanks for listening, everybody, and I will see you next podcast.